Hello, this is Marcus again in my ID.3 first. So today I'm doing a trip to Obidos, just north of Lisbon, from my house in Moita. Now that's 105 kilometers, and then I'm going to come back. So it's going to take about an hour to get there and an hour to come back. Before I tell you why I'm doing this trip, I'm going to give you a geography lesson of Portugal. This is my geography, so I'm going to get Portuguese people writing in and complaining. But for me, Portugal is in two parts. You have the south of Portugal, which is where I am now, and that's below the River Tejo. Then you have the north of Portugal, which is above the River Tejo. So for example, Lisbon is in the north of Portugal, and Moita, where I am coming from now, is in the south of Portugal, where in fact some people call something the centre of Portugal, and the centre of Portugal is actually where we're going. But for me, I split Portugal up into two regions, North Portugal and South Portugal. Why do I do that? Because in the south of Portugal, it's a lot less mountainous. I mean, it's more mountainous than, for example, the UK, but it's much less mountainous than the north of Portugal. As you can see around here, it's fairly flat. As soon as you get to the north of Portugal, past the River Tejo, it becomes very mountainous. I've only ever driven my car in the south of Portugal to the Algarve, etc., on the motorways, and I wanted to know what it's like on a mountainous motorway. How much does that eat into battery? And I also want to know what it's like when we've got bad weather. So we're going to a mountainous motorway, the A8, and we've got bad weather today. As you can see, it's cloudy, but the actual wind speed is around 10 meters a second coming from the south. So that's above 30 kilometers an hour. As you can see, there's a lot of humidity. It might actually rain today. So that's what I want to see. What is consumption like when we have bad weather conditions and mountainous motorway? And I think 100 kilometers there and 100 kilometers back is enough for us to find that out. According to a better route planner, we will use 32% of the battery to arrive there. The wind is coming from the south, more than 30 kilometers an hour, that's why. And to come back with headwind on the way back, we will use 43% of the battery. Now, one reason why I wanted to try this is because when I'm on a motorway doing 120 kilometers an hour, and this is the rules today, we're keeping to motorway speed, and we will try not to go lower than motorway speed. Obviously we have to for safety reasons, but we're trying to keep to motorway speed and do a normal drive as much as possible. So I do simple maths, and this maths has been working for me when I go to the Algarve, so I want to see if it works for me in a mountainous region or not. So my simple maths is that for every 10% of the battery on the motorway, I use 25 kilometers of range. Or the way I prefer to think of it is every 20% I use 50 kilometers of range. It's easy maths to do. So 100 kilometers, for example, is 40%, and 200 kilometers is 80%. At home, I charge my car to 80%, as I never charge it above 80% unless I really have to. So from home, the car's on 80%, and we'll see if we drop 25 kilometers every 10% or not on the way to Obidos and on the way back. We'll do those two calculations just to see. Yes, today the temperature currently is 19 degrees Celsius. I don't have the air conditioning on because I don't need it, but I do have the blowers on, and we are currently in comfort mode. I'm going to keep it in comfort mode, not eco mode, because I do like comfort mode. So currently we're in the south of Portugal, and we're coming up to the bridge Vasco da Gama, which is going into Lisbon. And this bridge, I think, is one of the longest bridges in Portugal. And according to me, once we get to the other side of this bridge, we'll actually be in the north of Portugal. So that will be in Lisbon. So north of this bridge, we'll actually be in Lisbon. And on this bridge, I think we can do 120 kilometers an hour. Sometimes the bridge is slower when the weather is really, really bad. So we'll see if there's any speed limits on the bridge today. But normally we can do 120 kilometers an hour on this bridge. So I have to pay the toll for the bridge. Oh, I've paid the toll. Electric cars get a 20% discount on this bridge. So let's get up to speed, 120 kilometers an hour. Don't overtake these slow pokes. So the acceleration in this car is absolutely fantastic. We're at 120 kilometers an hour. I'm going to put in adaptive cruise control. 120 kilometers an hour now, put it in adaptive cruise control, and we're off. We may get some rain on the way, but I'm not expecting too much. We had very heavy rain this morning, so I didn't do this morning. Currently the weather's cleared up a bit, but we've still got wind. Don't know if you can see those flags over there, but as you can see, there's a lot of wind. So probably up to around 30 kilometers an hour. Is a bridge here. We're just getting onto the bridge now, so it's fairly flat. There are some ups and downs, but not too many. You can probably see Lisbon in the distance over there with the clouds. As you can see, just looking at Lisbon in the distance, you see all the mountains behind Lisbon. So it does start to get mountainous quite quickly. So what are the rules then for driving? So we're going to keep at motorway speed 120 kilometers an hour. I'm not going to go slower because of battery or whatever. But there's speed restrictions, etc. No speed restrictions on the bridge at the moment. 120 kilometers an hour is what we're doing. And once we get past Lisbon, you will start to see us going into the mountainous region of the A8 for us to get to Obidos. So yes, I left home with 80%, and according to Route Planner, I should have enough to get there and come back. But probably I'll only come back with like 5%, so I don't want to do that. What I'm going to do is, perhaps in Obidos, they've got 2 destination chargers, and both of these types of chargers I had never tried before. So I may try both of them for like 15 minutes each or something, just to see if they work in this car. Then on the way back on the motorway, they've got a 50 kilowatt hour charger, and that's something I might want to try as well. So I might charge for 10 or 15 minutes on the motorway as well, just to try it, because I am trying different chargers in Portugal just to see how they work. But I want to charge to try the chargers, etc. If I'd have left home with 100%, I think I could easily go to Obidos and come back without charging and arrive home with about 20% of the battery capacity left, but I didn't do that because I prefer to keep the battery between 20% and 80%. Let's just have a look at current stats then. So currently we've used 5% of the battery, and we've gone 22 kilometers, 5%, so I'm saying 25 kilometers for every 10%. So currently we're slightly under that, and our kilowatt hour per 100 kilometers is 19.1. But then there was a little bit on the way from my house to the motorway where we're going slower, so this will probably go up a bit, this 19.1 kilowatt hours. But then we do have wind behind us, so perhaps it won't. Another reason why I want to do this is because I want to do more trips to the north of Portugal, because for an EV driver, especially a southern Portuguese EV driver like myself, I mean, we're very scared to go to the north of Portugal past Lisbon because all these mountains. Can a EV cope with these mountains? Can I drive in the north of Portugal? This is something I want to test for the days when I will go perhaps to the Serra da Estrela, to Porto, and to other places in the north of Portugal, because the north of Portugal is very beautiful. But is this mountainous region good for EV drivers and good for the ID.3? And I'm doing a short test here just to see if it is, and how that's going to help my planning when I do go further afield in the north of Portugal. See, we're arriving just to the outskirts of Lisbon now, going up the hill. The speed has gone down to 100 kilometers an hour here because this is a speed limit here, and there will be some speed restrictions until we get past Lisbon. Here we're going back up to 120. The car's in automatic cruise control. Does it do it automatically? Here we go, the car's automatically accelerating. Its automatic cruise control is working wonderfully in this car. So now we're in the north of Portugal. This is Lisbon. This is very odd. This is the first time I've come on this bridge in my car. I've had it for more than a month. Before COVID, I took this route every day to work. But now, because we're doing working from home, because I'm doing working from home, I hardly ever use this route anymore. So it's really strange. So if there hadn't have been COVID, I'd have probably done lots of videos of this route already on my way to work. This part of the route anyway, crossing over into Lisbon. So something here that seems so familiar to me, this road, and I haven't really used this road since February, and we're in November now, so yes. So it's actually quite nice to drive in this car on the route I normally take to work. So we're going to go through a tunnel now, and the other side of the tunnel you're going to see the mountains. And we're going on the A8 towards Obidos. So the adaptive cruise control now is slowing me down to 60 kilometers an hour. As you can see, just look at how mountainous this is, and we're going to go downhill now. And that's the region we're going to, into a very bendy and windy motorway. Going down this hill, it's 80. Adaptive cruise control is speeding me up to 80 now. It's very beautiful. And this is just the outskirts of Lisbon, so there's still a lot of houses and flats and things. Now it's slowing us down to 60 because there's a speed limit here. This is really no pedal drive and adaptive cruise control in the ID.3 first. Absolutely brilliant. Down to 40 now. Well, it's detected 120 and it's already speeding up. But it's detected it a bit too early really. You don't want to be going 120 along there. You have to check before you can pull out into this lane. So A failed adaptive cruise control was trying to kill me by speeding me up too quickly to 120 when it had detected. It's easy for me to slow the car down, but just by putting the brakes on. So current stats are, before we get into the Mountainous region, we're just about to, is that we have used 9% of the battery and we have done 35 kilometers. With my simple maths, it is 10% for every 25 kilometers, so we're actually doing better at the moment than we expected, but we do have 30 km/h winds pushing us from the south, and it's been very flat so far. So we'll start to see once it gets hillier. Here's a roll toll, and the adaptive cruise control is slowing me down. It slowed me down to 80. Really love this. Slowing me down to 60. Then we just go through here. So here we go. We're going to go up the first hill on the A8. And let's go up to 120 kilometers an hour. We're doing 102 kilometers an hour at the moment. Let's go up to 120 because I want to keep at 120 even if it's hilly downhill, so you can check the consumption. So now we're at 120 kilometers an hour on cruise control. See, this is quite a big hill to go up. Hopefully it won't be too busy today, but there does seem to be a few cars. So I did ask my daughter and wife if they wanted to come with me to Obidos, because it's a very nice town to visit. But I won't actually stay there because of the COVID situation in Portugal at the moment currently, and there's going to be a state of emergency tomorrow with more restrictions, I believe. So I'm just going to go there. I might try out the two destination chargers, just 15 minutes each, because they're both two types of chargers I have never actually tried. So it might be good just to try them there, and hopefully there shouldn't be any people by the destination chargers anyway. Then on the way back, if it's not occupied, I can try a DC charger. But as you can see, we're still going uphill. And can you see those windmills in this region? There's a lot of windmills generating electricity. So when I do charge the car, it's probably energy all being created by these windmills. So some people may consider them an eyesore, these windmills. I actually think they look really nice. Well, I guess they're not windmills, are they? Because windmills, they're wind turbines, yes. People are going to complain at me that I'm calling them windmills when they're wind turbines. Well, there's a black cloud up there. I don't know if you can see it, but it seems to be getting sunnier actually. Not quite sure if there's wind at the moment. But we're still going uphill. You see, keep going uphill. So consumption has actually gone up to 21.3 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and we've done 43 kilometers. How much has this hit us? So yes, actually we've done 14%, and the Better Route Planner actually said to get there we'd use 32%. We're going downhill a little bit now, that may help. All on adaptive cruise control, currently doing 120 kilometers an hour, real 120 kilometers an hour, if you know what I mean. Oh, do you know what I saw yesterday in Portugal, and my wife thought it looked amazing? The new electric Mazda, you know, the one with a very small battery. Actually saw one in Portugal yesterday. It looked quite big, but yeah, that was nice to see. And now we get in our Hyundai Kona, an electric one, fully electric one, is overtaking us. I can tell by the grille. So if an electric Hyundai Kona can do this route, there's no reason why the ID.3 can't. Perhaps we overtake it. No, I want to keep to my 120 kilometers an hour. Perhaps he's going to turn off there, or she, I don't know who. Actually, the electric Kona looks really nice in white. It's a nice car. More expensive than this car in Portugal. I'd still prefer this car over the electric Kona. Wonder why he's slowing down. Now we're going up a hill. Perhaps he knows something I don't. I'm going to get there with 2% charge. We're going to keep to the 120 kilometers an hour real speed. But it's quite busy with traffic, so it's hard to keep exactly to 120. It's slowing me down a bit because there's cars in front and stuff. Going downhill again. 100 kilometers an hour has been detected. That's why everyone's slowing down. Yeah, that's right. So we're slowing down here now because it's 100 kilometers an hour. We have to pull over here, get on the right lane, so we want to be on the A8. Actually, the car's currently regenerating at the moment. So I've never actually seen another ID.3 on the roads in Portugal. I've only ever seen my ID.3. So apart from the one at the dealer, obviously, the dealer had two of them. I saw both of those. But I've never actually seen them in the wild in Portugal. Adaptive cruise control detected 120, and we're moving back up to 120. So this charger in 30 kilometers, where we've got an electric symbol, I don't know if you can see that on the sign, that's what I want to use, probably coming back on the way home just to test it. I probably don't have to use it on the way home, but we will see. See, we're going downhill again now. Actually, it doesn't seem that windy at the moment because the trees are not moving that much. But the windmills are moving quite a lot, so there must be some wind along here. So today I'm only going to Obidos on this route, but I think I'll go further on this route another day, perhaps up to Coimbra, perhaps even further, to try it out, because that'd be interesting. Today is just an experiment to see what consumption we get on mountainous roads in bad weather. Going uphill again. And I am keeping to 120 kilometers an hour, almost. It's 117, we're going back up to 120 now. So we're actually increasing our speed going up the hill, which is probably bad for consumption. So I really want to try to make this as bad as possible, see what this car can do and get some real figures, because if I work on the bad figures, it gives me a lot of margin for normal days when the weather's better. But look, we've got some sun now. Woohoo! We've got some sun. So we've just travelled 52 kilometers. My consumption has actually gone down to 20 kilowatt hours per 100, surprisingly, and we're at 63%. That means we've used 17%. So I would say every 50 kilometers we should use about 20%, and we're actually using 17. So my 50 kilometers per 20% of battery seems to be working more or less. But we do have the wind behind us currently. So the time now is 3:10, and it gets dark in Portugal at 5:30, so I hope I'm back home before it gets dark, just so you can see the route. You see the big windmills generating lots of clean, free energy for us, unless you think these are an eyesore. I think they look really nice, but you know, I would say that because I'm an eco warrior. Probably there's more up now. I think they look really good. They're probably killing lots of birds and stuff and bats and God knows what, according to some people. But anyway, they look really nice. So we're going downhill. So there's a lot of downhills here. We go uphill, but we go downhill. So we're not actually using any energy now or regenerating any energy. We're just coasting downhill. But this is adaptive cruise control is doing this. I'm not doing anything. Battery's still at 63% since I last said it was. But we are going downhill. Yeah, the countryside to the north of Portugal is really beautiful, you see. It's very different from the countryside in the south of Portugal. You can see those windmills and the mountains up there. Hope you can. There's the electric charging point again. Ooh, I like that symbol. It's the symbol they've put in Portugal for when there's electric chargers on the motorway. We just need many more of those symbols so that they're at every service station on the motorway. And hopefully they should do a new symbol when they finally put 100 kilowatt chargers on the motorway instead of 50. Instead of a blobby looking electric car, like a Ferrari looking electric car or Taycan looking electric car, show it's faster. Wouldn't that be good? 50 kilowatts, the sign is like that. 100 kilowatts, it looks like a Taycan. Yeah, show it's fast. This road is also quite bendy, and the ID.3 is handling it perfectly. This car is such a solid car with such quality, it's amazing. So before I left home, I checked the Mio app and all chargers were available in Obidos and the ones on the way back on the motorway. So I've no idea when we get there if there'll be free to chargers, but I guess so. I don't know. So the car is saying we've got 43 kilometers to go. And we should get there in 26 minutes. It's navigation on the car, and we're just going past Torres Vedras now. We're still at 61% battery, and the consumption's actually gone down to 19.1. Be interested to see what it's like on the way back. We should be going downhill more than we're going uphill. So that's even better for consumption. Oh, look over there, there's an old windmill, one that actually mills flour to make bread. But it looks more like a house now than the actual mill. But wouldn't that be nice to live in, an old windmill? If there's a lot of downhills here, it means there'd be a lot of uphills on the way back, I guess. So perhaps mountainous driving isn't that bad for consumption, because you go up and you use a lot, but then you come down and you don't use so much, do you? I don't know. Perhaps it evens itself out, but I guess in the end it's going to be worse than having a flat motorway like you'll get in somewhere like Holland. It's getting cloudier again, and the wind doesn't seem that strong, but it is coming from the south, as you can see by that balloon thing we've just passed. The consumption's actually gone down to 18.4 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and we've done 69 kilometers. Woohoo! One thing I did do before I started this journey, and something I haven't done yet, and I probably should do it every week, is check the tyre pressure in the car. So I went to the petrol station and I checked up tyre pressure. So tyre pressure's perfect at the moment. So that also helps consumption. So I guess that's something I should do every week really, but I've had the car I've had the car 5 weeks now. That's the first time I've done it. And just for you to know, I've done 2,795 kilometers in the car. A better route planner is actually saying we'll get there with a battery at 48% and we use 32%. So we see what the battery charge is when we get there. Currently it's 59%. No, it's not telling me the outside temperature. That's strange. There's a bug there, is there something? But it is currently 19 degrees Celsius outside. So we've gone further north, but it hasn't got any colder. So now we're going past the service station where they've got the electric charger. I'm going to look to see if anyone's actually charging at it while we go past. No, on this side, no one's charging at it, so that one's free. On the other side, let's have a look. Don't know if I can see the one on the other side. Oh yes, there's a car charging at it on the other side. So we've currently done 79 kilometers. So if it's 25 kilometers for every 10% of the battery, I'd expect us to have used 30% of the battery by now. So let's check the battery charge. So we're at 56%, so we've only actually used 24% of the battery so far. So actually we're doing better consumptions than my simple maths would have us believe. But I mean, we haven't been at 120 kilometers an hour all the way, have we? No. But you know, we're doing that now, but consumption is actually going down again. It's 18.6 kilowatt hours per 100. You know, and the weather is quite bad today, and we are going up and down in this mountainous region. So perhaps the north of Portugal shouldn't be so scary for EV drivers from the south of Portugal like myself. Oh, it's looking windier now. Those trees are moving around a lot, so I think we're being pushed along. We're probably going to need 80% of the battery to get home. We'll arrive with 0% because there's so much wind coming from the south now. We will see. But according to a better route planner, we need 43% to get home and 32% to arrive. Oh look, we've got another toll road in 800 meters. There's more money going into the coffers of the motorway company. Adaptive cruise control slowing me down to 100 kilometers an hour. Fantastic. Slowing me down to 80 kilometers an hour as it should be. Slowing me down to 60 kilometers an hour as well as it should be. So let's go through here. I wonder how much money I have to pay here. Probably a lot. €4.85. Goodness gracious me. That's expensive. And we'll move back up to 120 kilometers an hour again. So we've only got 17 kilometers to our destination. We've done 87 kilometers. Our consumption is 18.8 since my house, and we've got 53% of the battery left. The GOM is actually saying we've got 194 kilometers. Oh, there's a Tesla over there. So if Teslas can do this hilly route, the ID.3 can as well. And we're proving that. We've got some bird poo-poo on the window, so I'll try and clean that for you. Probably make it worse. Oh well. The bird poo-poo is not coming off, or the insect or whatever that is. Ooh, can see like a rainbow over there. Partial rainbow. Actually, I thought my consumption would be higher than this, but then we have got the wind behind us, so you know, on the way back could be a nightmare. We will see for consumption. But so far, with the wind behind you on this mountainous route, the consumption is really good. 18.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. And we've done 91 kilometers. Yeah, so it's 105 kilometers there. So about 113 kilometers to go to our destination. That's what it's saying. One thing about this car in the wind is because it's so heavy, it doesn't get pushed around like my C4 Cactus would, because my C4 Cactus was light. You don't really feel the wind at all in this car. And I've noticed that you just don't get pushed around in it. It just stays firm to the road. So solid this car. It's absolutely fabulous. Still doing 120 kilometers an hour. Real, if you know what I mean. Overtake these slow pokes. So you slow down a little bit. This adaptive cruise control is amazing. I never have to touch the brake or the accelerator. There's a big bend coming up by the looks of things. I need to slow down, I don't know. But there's a big bend with flashy lights. Yeah, if a BMW can get round at 120 kilometers an hour, there's no reason why the ID.3 can't, and it can. It just sticks to the road, this thing. Amazing. So we're nearly there. We've got 5.8 kilometers to go until we're there. We've done 99 kilometers, nearly 100. So we're going to tell you what the stats are when we get to 100 kilometers any minute now. Let's wait. Oh, it's starting to rain. It wouldn't start to rain in the place I want to stop at for a few minutes. Obviously, 100 kilometers. So we're at 49% of the battery. So we've used 31% of the battery to do exactly 100 kilometers. And a lot of it's been in this mountainous region on the motorway, and we've stick to 120 kilometers an hour as much as possible. Using my simple maths, we should have used 40% of the battery, because every 25 kilometers is 10% of the battery. But in fact, we've only used 31% of the battery. So my simple maths is, working, is overestimating it currently. We do have quite a strong tailwind apparently, so I guess that's helping. We'll see on the way back what difference a headwind makes. Obidos 2 kilometers. Yes, look at Obidos. You can probably see it in the distance there. Beautiful walled medieval town. Great place to come and visit, especially if you're in Lisbon. If you want a day trip out of Lisbon, come to Obidos. It's not very far. There's probably coaches or train or something here, I don't know, or hire a car and come here. It's a really nice place to visit with great restaurants and stuff. No, Obidos does actually have, I think, 4 destination chargers, 2 places, but actually 4 destination chargers. So if you do come here in an EV for a day trip, you can actually charge the car while you're here. So it makes it even better. Now, apparently there's electric vehicle chargers somewhere around here. I don't know exactly, but there's one at Prio as well. So let's see if I can find it. Is there a sign for it or something? I think it might be to the left here. Is it there? No, I don't see anything there. Maybe we go along a bit further. I don't actually know where the electric vehicle charger is. I don't see any signs for it currently. So we go along a bit further, see if I find it. So I see Prio over there, and Prio does have an electric vehicle charger, so we may stop there if I don't find it here. So stats are, we've done 105 kilometers. I told you it's 105 kilometers to here. Our average is actually very low, 18.3 kilowatt hours per 100. Average speed 96 kilometers per hour. And over here I can actually see.
Please say the full address starting
Stop that. So 18.2 kilowatt hours per 100. I can see the charger here. It's going to be hard to reverse into, so perhaps if I can go into it forward, it does seem to give me a lot of room. I could actually try it. And the battery is at 47%, so it's actually taken me 33% to get here, and a better route planner said it would take me 32%. So that's how accurate a better route planner is. Well, I don't need to charge here, but shall I just charge here just for 10 minutes just to see if this works? Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Actually, I've never used one of these Prio destination chargers. They're really nice, and they've got an LCD screen, as you can see there. And the best thing about it is positioning, because this is the first charger I've managed to ever go to where I can drive in frontwards, because normally the chargers are here at the front of the car and my cable doesn't reach to the back, so I have to always reverse in. But no, this is really nice because they've done it in like a staged area where this one's slightly back and this one's more forwards, so it's a bit closer to the car, and as you can see, the cable goes perfectly into the back of my car, and I haven't had to reverse in here. Absolutely brilliant. That's a bad point for me with the ID.3 first, is that the charging port's not at the front, so you have to reverse in. It makes it a bit of a pain. So currently it's charging at 67 kilometers per hour. So the charger on the motorway is actually being used, and it's been being used for the past 55 minutes. So if it's been being used for 55 minutes, by the time I get there, either the person will have left. So 55 minutes ago on CCS charging, surely they must be nearing the end of their charging session. Or perhaps they're one of these people who charge to 100%, I don't know. But we'll see. We'll stay here a little bit longer because I'm going to work something out. So just to reiterate, we came here and we used 33% of the battery. A better route plan said we'd use 32% of the battery. Yes, I'm going to show you here the stats for what we did. So it was 18.2 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. The average speed was 91 kilometers an hour. I was trying to drive as close to 120 kilometers as possible. Distance 105 kilometers. It took 1 hour and 9 minutes. So on the way back, there should be headwind, but it doesn't seem that windy here currently. If you just look at that tree over there, but we could be in a place where the wind isn't too bad. If you look over there, actually it's looking cloudy. So let's just look at the charging. Perhaps we'll stop when it gets to 50%. Yeah, that might be a good idea. We'll stop when it gets to 50%. So according to a better route planner, I need 43% to get home in these windy conditions. So if I leave at 50%, I will get home with, according to this, I'll get home with around 7%. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to charge on the motorway or a bit further along. So I charged the car to 50% at this Prio here. Really nice charging spot. Can you see the Obidos part of the wall up there with the castle building up there? That's part of it. Very nice town to come and stay in. I really did enjoy the charging post of Prio, the destination charger. It was different. I've never used one before. The positioning was absolutely amazing, so I could drive my car in front ways and still my cable reached the charger. We've now done 106 kilometers, average is 18.2, and we'll head back home now. And this time we'll head back home now, and this time we should have headwind up to 30 kilometers an hour. Here we go, back on the motorway, 120 kilometers an hour. Now, the charging spot on the motorway I do want to use, according to Mio, there's someone charging there, but they've been charging there for more than an hour. So I'm going to see if they're still charging there when we get there. So I do have 50%. I'll probably only charge the car here to 60%. I don't think I'm going to need more than 60%. So it should be a quick 50 kilowatt charging spot. But I really did enjoy this destination charging spot here. It's a really nice spot to charge slowly. Obviously, if you were charging slowly there for like 3 or 4 hours, give you plenty of time to walk into the town, perhaps even get lunch at a nice restaurant, and then go back to the car. So a great destination charging spot in the beautiful medieval walled town of Obidos. So here we've got this bend coming up again. I'm going to slow down a little bit. I'm going to happily go around the bend. And it does look like we're going to get rain over there, so probably the rain is at the charging spot. It does look like we could get rain. The electric charger from here, in fact, is in 20 kilometers, and we're currently at 47%. Yes, I think in a minute we can say goodbye to the sun, because it's definitely looking cloudier up ahead. But that's what winters are like when you live along the Atlantic coast. And Portugal does need a lot of rain. Not so much in this region, but more in the south. It definitely needs a lot of rain. So as you can see here, it's nice and green. The temperature is still 19 degrees Celsius, but the temperature's not showing on my car for some reason. Perhaps I have to do, perhaps at the next charging stop, I'll reset the infotainment system to see if it starts showing the temperature outside. It's annoying. Well, automatic windscreen wipers have come on, so it does actually work. I found out how automatic windscreen wipers work, and they're actually working. As we get some rain. Look, we can test how good they work here, can't we? So come back on. Oh yeah, see, they've come back on. Woohoo! So I'm not going to touch the windscreen wipers, so we see how well they go automatically. So apparently to get automatic windscreen wipers, what you have to do is you have to pull the windscreen wiper stick all the way down, then you move it up into the first position. That's how you get automatic windscreen wipers, but nowhere on the stick does it say auto, so it's slightly strange. And now we're also getting a wet road ahead. You see car spray, so that's going to add to consumption as well. So this is great. We're getting really bad conditions, headwind, spray, and we see how much this affects consumption. We're on adaptive cruise control as well. As you can see, it's getting darker because of the clouds. Currently on 44% battery, so since the last charge, we've used 6%. And we've gone 15 kilometers. So perhaps now my 25 kilometers per 10% won't be enough. Let's see. We're going uphill as well. Yeah, and since the charger, we're doing 22.9 kilowatt hours per 100, which is more than the 18 point something we had on the way up. So consumption is higher. Headwind plus rain, I guess. Yeah, so the charger is 10 kilometers away, so we're going to stop there and see if there's somebody charging there or not. Well, I'm not quite sure how you can be more than an hour on a CCS charger, but I don't know. Perhaps they've got a car with an extremely big battery that only charges at 20 kilowatts or something like that, I don't know. Oh, I've got the toll coming up again. Well, I have to pay more money. You see how much money I have to spend, you know, to bring this content to your YouTube people. Well, here, it doesn't tell us how much we're going to spend. We get the other side, it will. I think I can slightly hear the wind more now it's coming towards us. It's not very loud, but I think it's slightly louder than before. But again, this car is very quiet, very solid. Great car. Well, here we've got this concrete road surface, a bit noisier, but not very noisy, and the car's handling it really well. I know in other petrol cars, when I've come on this like concrete road surface, it's been a lot noisier than this. The suspension hasn't been so good. So yes, this car is definitely a very, very comfortable ride. Suspension is just outstanding. Oh, we're back on nice tarmac now. Just checking something. We've done 24 kilometers since the charging point. When it's at 25, I'm going to see what the battery is, see if my 25 kilometers per 10% is working on the motorway. And we did leave with 50% charge. Let's see. And in 2 kilometers, we've got the charging point. So hopefully there's nobody charging there, but we will see. So 25 kilometers, we're at 40% exactly. So my 25 kilometers per 10% on the motorway is actually working in bad conditions. It's an overestimate for good conditions, but in bad conditions with a headwind, it's actually working. So that's giving me some competence in my simpleton math. We're actually doing 21.1 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers since the last charging point. So that's higher than before. We're going to turn off now at this service station. Hopefully there's a charger, because I don't have enough confidence to go home with 40% with these conditions. I think I'll be fine, but I really don't want to arrive home with 5% or 10%. No, that's not for me. It's not for me. I prefer just to sit here for a little bit in charge to have peace of mind. If there is somebody charging here, then I may go to another charging point a bit further ahead. Oh look, it's an EQC. I told you it was a car with a very big battery. Yeah, so we got here with 40%, and I've been charging for 5 minutes so far, and we're already at 47%. So I made a bit of a cowboy error here, and it's something I wouldn't have made if Colleen or Annabella were in the car with me. So when I arrived, there was actually a Mercedes EQC here, and the app actually said somebody had been here for 1 hour 15 minutes. So I thought perhaps it was the Mercedes EQC, because it's a car with a big battery. This is only a 50 kilowatt charger. So I did actually ask the people, and they said no, it wasn't them, it was the person before them who was there for 1 hour 15 minutes, and they'd just arrived. So I asked them politely how long they would be here for, and they told me 20 minutes. A bit further along there is the town of Torres Vedras, where I would have to go off the motorway, and I could get another 50 kilowatt charger, and it was actually free. But I thought for 20 minutes, so not to ruin this test of going to Obidos and then going back home on exactly the same route, because if I had gone off into the town, the route would be different. I thought it'd be better to stay here for 20 minutes. I had some note taking to do and things for this video. So that was fine. I mean, if Colleen and Annabella were in the car with me, or if there was in a rush, I'd have gone to Torres Vedras, but I thought waiting here for 20 minutes is fine, just so the test is good for this whole route. The only problem was, and I'm not blaming them, because I had a nice conversation with a gentleman about the Mercedes EQC, you know, and he's enjoying the car, what he thought of it, etc. But the only issue was they weren't here for 20 minutes, they was here for 40 minutes. And if they'd have told me 40 minutes, I'd have definitely have gone to Torres Vedras. I waited here for 40 minutes. So I'm not sure it was their car, because it did have a symbol of a stand on it. So they may have borrowed the car or doing a test in it, or I don't know. So it could have been that they thought this was a 100 kilowatt charge and thought it would be 20 minutes, but in fact it ended up being 40 minutes. But that was polite. I mean, it's slightly my fault as well, because really I should have gone to Torres Vedras, but I didn't want to ruin this thing. But you may have made a mistake. But if somebody asks you while you're at a charging point, do you know how long you're going to take? If you don't know, say, I don't know, I've just got here, that's fine. If you do know, then instead of saying 20 minutes, say 40 minutes, for example. That's what I would do, and it'd make the other person a better decision. I did tell him, perhaps stupidly, that perhaps I'd go on to the next charger at the next town. But then he did see I was next to him all the time. Perhaps he didn't realise the time. I know he was looking at his phone and stuff, so perhaps 20 minutes, he thought he was there for 20 minutes when he was actually there for 40 minutes. So, I mean, I'm not really blaming them, but it's just something to be aware of and something that can happen, especially on motorway services in Portugal, because in Portugal, there aren't a lot of service stations, but there's only one charger like here. It's at 150 kilowatt, and if somebody is already there, then it's a pain. You have to wait, and there could be 2 people waiting, and that's a pain. And I guess Sunday afternoon is a day where a lot of people are coming back to Lisbon, so it's a time where it's going to be more crowded than other times. In the week, this is probably never crowded. This probably spends hours and hours without being used whatsoever, and there's nobody waiting for it at the moment. So I'm coming here basically at rush hour. So I think it's a problem with the Portuguese network, the Portuguese chargers on networks. There definitely has to be more of them. But then it was my stupidity also. I should have just gone into the town and used the one in Torres Vedras, which is not a big diversion. It's probably a 5 or 6 kilometre diversion. But just because of this test, and I thought it's only 20 minutes, I stayed here, so I made a mistake. But then being as polite as I was, when it got to 30 minutes, I thought, should I drive off now? But I thought, oh, they're only going to be another minute, and they're only going to be another minute. So once you've made this decision to stay, you really don't want to leave, because you think you're going to look a bit stupid, and you think they're just another minute and you're going to get to the charger. So that's something I made a stupid mistake about. But here we're actually charging very quickly. So we've been charging for 10 minutes so far, and we're already at 54%. The problem is it's 5 o'clock, and at 5:30 it's going to be dark. So on our route back, we're going to get darkness. Well, I didn't want to get darkness, but at least we'll have exactly the same route, which is completely comparable on the motorway, which is probably a better thing to do than worry about the darkness. When this gets to 60%, we're going to leave. The temperature is working again. I reset the infotainment system, so the temperature's working again. I don't know why it stopped working. Distance home is 79 kilometres. The GOM actually says 204 kilometres, so I don't need to charge here. And I didn't have to wait all this time. But when I made the decision to charge here, I really didn't want to get home with like 5 or 7%, because that for me just seems too risky, especially as we've got headwind now on this mountainous motorway. So I prefer to stop here and charge. I mean, I think I'm only going to be stopped here for 15 minutes to get to 60%. Then when I get home, I should have at least 20% of charge, more than enough. So from Obidos to here, we've used 10% charge, 40%, and then I'm going to stop it at 60%. So I better keep an eye on the battery, because it's going up quite quickly. Yeah, we're already at 58%. So as soon as that gets to 60, we'll be off. Now I'm going to get ready for that, and I'm going to put you back on the window. Now I'm going to show you why I was a complete idiot to wait for 40 minutes for this charger. Before we get any dirt or diesel drivers saying it's impossible to have an EV in Portugal, because just look at this video here, this person had to wait 40 minutes for a charger, that's far too long. I'm going to show you why I was wrong and why I've disgraced the EV community with me waiting there for 40 minutes. So here is the charger we were on the A8 motorway, and we were going south, so that's where we waited 40 minutes. And I got there with 40% charge. If we go a bit further down, you see here, we've actually got a 50 kilowatt charger here. So I'm only showing 50 kilowatt chargers now in this Mio app. And here where it's grey, we've actually got a 50 kilowatt charger and a 160 kilowatt charger. That should come online soon. Going down the A8 motorway. And as you see here, we had 2 options here. 2 50 kilowatt chargers, one at a petrol station and one in a car park. That's quite near the A8 as well. Let's just keep going down. Here in Lourdes, we've got another 50 kilowatt charger. And here we've got many 50 kilowatt chargers coming up to Lisbon. So on the particular route I took, where it's the A36, A12, we've got another 50 kilowatt charger there, another one there on the bridge over the river Tagus, particularly around Lisbon, and even on this motorway route. If you just drive a little way off the motorway, there's lots of 50 kilowatt chargers. So there's absolutely no need for me to have waited there for 40 minutes for that charger. Unfortunately, on my way back home, the microphone stopped working for some reason. So you won't be able to hear my monotones, but I'm just going to sum it up here. So it didn't rain anymore, and it started to get darker, and the temperature went down to 17 degrees Celsius. Efficiency started to improve, so it started to go down the number of kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, until when I got home it was just below 19 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Obviously going around Lisbon I had to slow down, I couldn't do the 120 as before, and when I got back onto the bridge I could speed up again to 120 kilometers an hour. The car was absolutely amazing. I was really expecting an efficiency on the way back of well over 20, and I got just under 19. So even with headwind and with this mountainous terrain, the car did absolutely wonderfully, and I wasn't expecting such good efficiency. So in total I used 37% of the battery from Obidos to my house, and that was 105 kilometers with headwind. So I'm back home. As we can see here, this is at 34%. I believe I added 23% in battery charge and we're at 80. So we've actually used 70% of battery on this trip. And this trip was 210 kilometers, the average 18.5. And I tried to travel at 120 kilometers an hour all the way on motorway in bad weather, with bad conditions on the mountainous route. Let's just see what my range would have been then if I'd have gone from 100% to 0%. So I'm going to actually do some maths here, 1 minute. So if my maths is correct, and I think it is, we did 210 kilometers with 70% of the battery. So with 100% of the battery, we'd have actually done exactly 300 kilometers. Just one thing before I forget, how good was a better route planner? So I did enter my car and I did enter the wind speed as best as I could. My house to Obidos, it said 32%, we arrived with 33%, so it was 1% out. Obidos to my home, it said we would use 43%, and we actually used 37%, so it was 6% out there. But I do think it is because the headwind wasn't quite so strong on the way back as I expected. We still had a headwind, but it wasn't quite so strong. So a better route planner on this trip, it did very well. Or was it just the car did better than a better route planner was expecting? I know there is a paid for version of a better route planner, which I think comes with traffic and weather and everything, and that is probably even more accurate. So I might actually get the paid for version. And then do a test with that. It's probably slightly better. Volkswagen has given me an Energy Moon. So currently it's set for 5.5 kilowatts. I can set it to 7 kilowatts, 2 kilowatts, 3 kilowatts, 3.7 or 5.5. I'm going to keep it at 5.5 because I think we might have water heater on and other stuff at home. I'm going to do a video about the Moon by Energy Kick. Thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. And don't forget to click subscribe and like and tell your friends about this wonderful channel. So we need to get it up to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you again and bye.